Sturla.
Here.
Topper.
Here.
Warner.
Proxy.
Williams.
Having established a quorum, I would like to thank everyone, the members of the Commission, all of the stakeholders, the testifiers, and the public that has engaged with us for the last 7 months, working together with an honest and earnest effort to improve our public education system. Co-Chairman Sturla?
Yes, thanks to everyone. It's been a lot of work, and I want to thank not only the members of the Commission and the people who testified, but also the staff, which I believe on every corner of this building has been working feverishly for quite some time now. So thank you.
Indeed. Thank you very much. With that, I would like to call up report number 1 for consideration. I need a motion by Representative Topper, and I need a seconded by Senator Rothman. As we know, Pennsylvania is home to 500 public school districts that educate more than 1.7 million students each year. Taxpayers provide significant resources to public schools through state, federal, and local taxes. School districts receive funding from various state appropriations, including basic education, pension, and Social Security reimbursement, special education, transportation reimbursement, teacher stipends, pre-kindergarten programming, school safety funding, and much more. Basic education funding is the largest portion of funds that school districts receive from the Commonwealth. And by statute, the Basic Education Funding Commission is reconstituted every 5 years. The Commission released its inaugural report and recommendations to the General Assembly in 2015, and the legislature and then Governor Tom Wolf adopted bipartisan recommendations to the formula in 2016. And that brings us here to today, where this commission that has been co-chaired by myself and Representative Sturla have held 14 hearings across the state to solicit input from stakeholder witnesses. The commission received testimony from 92 witnesses, in addition to receiving public comment through its website of 1,104 individuals. Testifiers included the Pennsylvania Department of Education, the plaintiffs in the Commonwealth Court lawsuit, William Penn School District et al., the Pennsylvania Department of Education et al., school district superintendents, school business officers, leaders representing various education advocacy organizations, business trade associations, taxpayer advocates, nonprofit entities, and many, many more. And the Commission heard about the challenges with and suggestions to improve the basic education funding formula. Based on strong consensus from testifiers, including budget officials from several school districts, members of the Commission agreed that public education requires funding stability for greater predictability. And to address issues with predictability and stability, this report recommends resetting the base amount each district is allocated in basic education funding from the state, included in the 2023-2024 state budget. The report also suggests that future poverty data using the American Community Survey, which is an auditable and accountable poverty data, poverty data statistic created by the U.S. Census Bureau, be averaged over a 3-year span for formula distribution. And the report acknowledges that poverty weights are significant in the distribution of tax dollars, and based on feedback to the Commission, averaging this data will create less volatility in the funding distribution. Members of the Commission also support improving objective measures to quantify and track outcomes of record state investments meant to fulfill the General Assembly's constitutional obligation of a thorough and efficient system of public education. This report highlights key steps the legislature and Governor Josh Shapiro have taken to prioritize urgent maintenance needs in public school facilities through recently enacted state laws, as well as recommending future steps to provide for greater uniformity, accountability, and resources to address with school district facility funding needs. Finally, this report also suggests where the General Assembly could make bipartisan improvements to education policy, including assisting students in low-achieving schools immediately through the Pennsylvania Award for Student Success Program and property tax relief that is meaningful and significant, among several other policy considerations. And pursuant to Act 51 of 2014, this report recommends that the Commission will assist with drafting legislation to implement the recommended changes outlined in this report for the General Assembly to review and consider. Are there any members who want to speak on report number 1? Very good. Seeing none, I would ask Ms. Wilkin to please call the roll.
Argel.
Proxy, aye.
Delgado.
Abstain.
Fitterer.
Abstain.
Hughes. Isaacson. No. Krug.
Abstain.
Miller. Ortitai.
Yes.
Phillips-Hill.
Aye.
Rothman.
Aye.
Schweier.
No.
Sturla.
No.
Topper.
Yes.
Warner.
Proxy, yes.
Proxy, yes.
Williams. 6 yes, 6 no, 3 abstain.
Report number 1 not having received a majority of the votes, this report is not adopted and will be published on the Commission's website.
Thank you, Senator Phillips-Hill. I'd like to call up report number 2 for a vote. First, I need a motion. I see Representative Isaacson. Second, Senator Miller. So, report number 2. Which is now being offered for consideration. At the start of this process, I mentioned that this report needs to address adequacy, equity, and timeliness. This report makes several recommendations. First, on adequacy, we calculate adequacy targets for each school district. Second, on equity, there is a review of the info on all the weights that took place, and they're reflected in the formula itself. And 3, on timeliness, it's recommended that the dollars be driven out over a 7-year increment. This report calls for reducing the volatility in the formula with consistency, allowing for consistency and predictability. It also considers many other important issues outside the formula itself, but impactful to students and often mentioned in the Commonwealth Court decision regarding school funding, such as investment in school facilities, examining the charter school funding, investing in our education workforce, investment in student supports, including grade level literacy and literacy support programs, and K through 12 mental health. It talks about pre-kindergarten and universal kindergarten. The report also talks about consolidation and shared services, career and technical education, public libraries, pupil transportation, school safety, special education, and technology, all of which were also mentioned in the Commonwealth Court case. Lastly, this report recommends a reconstitution of the BEFC in 2029. And I urge that the public and media to read the full report on the Commission's website. Finally, I do want to highlight a few more details regarding consistency and adequacy. To address adequacy gaps, we recommend an adequacy target methodology that determined that the median spending by successful schools is $13,704 per weighted student. Using this methodology, the statewide adequacy gap is $5.4 billion. Further, the report also takes into consideration the disparity in local effort and the negative impacts that disparity has. That was a significant basis of the Commonwealth Court's decision. By proposing a reduction of property taxes through a tax equity supplement in districts that had no other choice than to raise taxes to their residents, we try to meet the needs of their kids. I believe the report not only meets our obligation to as a commission to the recommendations, to make recommendations on the BEF formula, but also meets constitutional muster as directed by the Commonwealth Court. And I urge a favorable vote on this report. Are there any comments on report number 2? Senator Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just real briefly, and fortunately we are at this moment, Senator Miller and I have a letter that we'd like to submit for the record for the commission and have it posted on the website so that all can read. That reflects concerns that have been discussed throughout this process, but I think we felt needed a little bit of extra emphasis, if you will, around areas that you mentioned, teacher shortage, school facilities, the crisis in grade level reading, literacy, those matters. So we will be submitting that for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Krug.
Thank you, Chair. We would also like to thank Co-Chair Phillips-Hill and Co-Chair Sterla, as well as all of the Commission members. Thank you to everyone who testified at the various hearings, and of course to all the staff members who worked with the Commission throughout this process. Over the past few months, the Commission heard testimony from educators, administrators, researchers, and other stakeholders who provided commentary around a wide variety of school funding and education policy issue areas in Pennsylvania. This report builds on the work of the first Basic Education Funding Commission in 2015 by recommending some adjustments to the existing formula to better ensure stability and predictability for school districts. In response to comments from both the Commonwealth Court and various testifiers throughout this process, the report acknowledges additional investments in K-12 education are necessary to adequately meet the needs of school districts throughout the Commonwealth. This commission reviewed and discussed multiple considerations for measuring and defining adequacy for school districts, and we are encouraged by that discussion and the option identified in this report. There are many other issue areas addressed in the report that are priorities for the administration, continuation of investments secured in this year's budget, including mental health supports, facilities and maintenance, school safety and security, and efforts to increase and support the educator workforce. This report provides many important recommendations to consider as we move toward the governor's budget address, into budget negotiations throughout the spring, and in future years to address the needs of school districts across the Commonwealth. We look forward to continued work with all 4 caucuses of the General Assembly on education policy and funding priorities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Senator Williams.
Thank you. I'd like to start by once again echoing the calls, thanking our staff, both the House and Senate, Democratic and Republican staffs. They spent countless hours preparing for hearings in locations across the Commonwealth and writing these reports, and thank you. We wouldn't be here without all of you. So, turning to the issue at hand today, I've been asked to limit my remarks to my vision for public education in Pennsylvania. It is rooted for me in a moral obligation and a belief that the future of Pennsylvania depends on getting our system of public education to not only pass constitutional muster, but exceed it, from pre-K to higher education. That means a commission report that includes articulated and meaningful investments in the areas that the court decided comprised a thorough and efficient system of public education. Importantly, adequacy and equity, but also pre-K, facilities, special education, mental health, and educator and student supports, just to name a few. That means a commission report that includes an aggressive timeline for finally giving a comprehensive remedy to generations of students who are harmed by our unconstitutional public education system. This is our opportunity to get this right. If we're not voting on a bipartisan report today, I see little reason to compromise at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Vicki, can you please take the roll?
Argel. Senator Argel.
No.
Delgado.
Yes.
Bitterer.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Isaacson.
Yes.
Krug.
Yes.
Miller. Ortitai. Phillips-Hill.
No.
Rothman. Schweier.
Yes.
Sturla.
Yes.
Topper.
No.
Warner.
Proxy, no.
Williams.
No.
9 yes, 6 no.
Thank you. The report having received a majority of votes, the report is adopted and will be published on the commission website.
Mr. Chair, I think we need to just count that again.
Oh, sorry.
I
believe
think that
Senator-
count is
It was
correct.
8-7.
It was,
Senator Williams voted in the negative at the
oh, Senator, so sorry. So it was 8-7.
Yes. Thanks. Any closing comments, Co-Chair Phillips-Hill?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I will just say that I believe that at the culmination of this commission here, really this is the end of the beginning. There's still a whole lot of work to do. We've got a whole lot to happen between now and the passing of the next budget, as well as the next 7 budgets beyond that. And I look forward to getting busy and getting to work on that. So with that, the meeting is now adjourned.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we need to adjourn the commission, not just the meeting.
Okay.
The commission is adjourned.
The commission is adjourned.
you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.